Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching GEEKCASTER, everything sci-fi, fantasy, and of course, geek culture and geek media. I'm Michael Seven Michael, and today we have
Lane Bretschneider.
And I'm your co-host, Davion Bussy. Bring in the smoke.
I hope everyone is doing well. We are doing great. We're live at FANFAIRE NYC. So, I love asking this first. Why FANFAIRE NYC. Why FANFAIRE NYC?
We came here because at a convention that we did last year, we just heard great things about it. A lot of the other artists and creators who were there said that we need to check this one out, that they'd done it before, and it was just a really cool event. And so after we'd heard so much, we said, let's check it out. And we read about it, that it was, at an arts high school, and kind of that it was supporting these kids and showing them what they can do with their skills and their knowledge. And we definitely wanted to be a part of that.
Yeah, it's amazing to see these professionals set up tables and have high school students right next to them. And their work is right there.
Yeah.
It's not like a big jump, which is amazing. They're very, very, very talented. I think school supplies and other tools, right? The proceeds.
I actually don't know.
We're
but
going to
sure,
find
that sounds
out.
possible.
That sounds possible. possible, okay. So you're not a New Yorker at all, right?
I am. I live in Staten Island now, and I've been living there for like 3 years, I think.
Okay.
Before that, I lived in Jersey City for a while and Hoboken, so I'm kind of familiar with the area, but I am from Michigan originally.
So you're a transplant that now you get your
now I'm
New York
Staten
crown.
Island. Yeah.
Yeah, you're official.
That's right. I have a New York driver's license, so that's how you know.
Oh.
Yeah. That's right.
And are you staying?
In New York?
Yeah.
That's the plan, yeah.
Awesome.
I love it here.
Now, are you one of the people that make us look good or make us look bad? Because you know how they say New Yorkers are rude? But I think it's all the transplants. I don't think it's actually people from here.
Probably. It's all of the people who come in and are acting like New Yorkers and just like the stereotypes they've heard.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I make us look good. I try to be kind to people and patient with people and smile all the time. But I also, I don't go out of my way to interrupt people's day and talk to them or anything like that, because I'm not
like us. I caught that, ladies and gentlemen.
We apologize for any inconvenience.
No, that's not what I mean.
Get kidnapped to ask a bunch of questions. So tell people about your art.
So I'm actually the writer, on a co-writer out of a team of 3 on a comic book called Starside. It's a science fiction fantasy comic series about Jack, who is a 16-year-old going to his regular day of school when aliens attack Earth and they start taking prisoners. And so Jack and a bunch of other humans get taken deeper into the universe, where they discover that there's an intergalactic war that's been going on for centuries that Earth has been isolated from. So he has to survive in this crazy universe, and he starts to unravel the mystery of why Earth has been separated from this, and also that humans might be the key to ending that war. So my fiance Dylan and I write the book, and then our artist is named Jordan, and he does all of the art, the pencils, inks, colors, letters, design, everything. He's very talented. So, yeah.
Wow, that's great.
Thanks,
So-
I really like it.
The journey, especially because there's a lot of high school students hopefully watching this, since we're doing a show live
Oh,
at a high school, right?
yes.
So you said, hey, I want to create a comic book. What was that like? And then actually jumping in and actually doing the work to do that.
It was definitely a journey, is a great way to describe it. Dylan had actually had this idea in his head for over 10 years that he'd just been creating and hadn't really told anyone about. He ended up telling me one day a little bit about it, and I said, that is amazing. We need to make something out of this.
Right.
And he said he always saw it as something visual and not just writing a novel. And so he said a comic book would be great. and we kind of set out to figure out how to write a comic book script and find an artist. And we told my best friend Ray about it and said we need to find an artist. She said, you know, my brother is like a really talented artist, right? And I had completely forgotten that, and so that was Jordan. And how we found him was that he was my best friend's brother, and so Dylan and I kept writing the script. We kind of pitched it to him to see if he'd be interested in working on it, and because we wanted to have a collaboration, not just hire an artist that we would tell exactly what to do and he would just do it. We wanted someone who would be invested in the story and help make sure that it's the best that it can be. And so Jordan was completely on board with all that. We started having Skype meetings because he's in Michigan.
Now, for you, does that make the difference, or would you suggest other people doing that as well? Finding someone that you already have a relationship with to create versus just hiring?
It helps in a way, but I have also talked to a lot of people who have just hired artists, and you know it can work super well both ways, as long as when you're doing the process, you have a good relationship and are communicating with each other and understanding the best way to work with each other. You know, it doesn't matter if you've just met or if you've known each other for years, as long as you're harboring a positive relationship and a working relationship, then, you know, it can work out either way.
How was the learning curve? Because you didn't grow up saying, hey, I want to create comic books.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, now you have this on your plate.
I feel like we learned a lot really fast. And I actually had never opened a comic book or touched a comic book or been in a comic store until we were creating this project, and I thought, well, I should probably do some research and know the medium before we start creating this. And Dylan had actually read some comic books as a kid, but not really regularly, and so we just
Both of you.
Yeah, like he had read them definitely more than I had, and he read The Walking Dead like regularly, so he was still kind of in the medium. But so one of the first things we did was go to our local comic shop and just start picking out what jumped out at us and getting recommendations. And we really quickly built a great relationship with the people who worked at our local store, which was amazing. And they would talk to us about what we liked and what we were looking for and give us recommendations, which is where we found some of our favorite books. And we just started reading tons of comics and getting an idea of what was out there and what we liked and how we could translate our story into this medium. And I'm so glad. I can't believe that it took me this long before I read comics.
Oh, wow. So are you into like creative writing in the beginning before you even transition to what you're doing now? Yeah,
Dylan hadn't really done that before. He has tons of other story ideas in his head as well, but he never really knew that he could do something with it. I studied film at school. I always knew I wanted to create something, and I always loved writing, but I never really had the drive or the really good ideas to do it myself. So I'm really happy. I've kind of being co-writer and also editor, I think, is a even better descriptor for my role in this team. So yes, I definitely had that creation inside of me, and to tell Dylan, you have this, you have what it takes to write these stories and be creative. And so us working together, it really was a good fit to bounce off each other.
So working together as two writers. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Was there any challenges that you had to really go through, like maybe creative differences, or for instance, ideas, conflicts?
Not too many. Luckily, we've definitely been lucky in that we haven't had a lot of really bad arguments about, the direction of something, because it's mostly Dylan's idea. He has this whole universe in his head that he's kind of guiding me and Jordan, but when it comes down to the nitty-gritty details of what's going to happen in an issue, we come together as a team, and we'll have discussions about, is this the best way to take this story or to show this character, and so we have definitely had not heated but more intense meetings where we are clashing about what this scene should look like for this character, and we have
I'm not afraid to ask about the drama.
Yeah.
Okay, you got this whole relationship thing going on. Does the artistic process and the business? Because there's the art and
right.
then there's the business. Does that cause any stress in your
it
relationship?
actually doesn't. The only
Okay.
time that Dylan and I really struggled with or like had a disagreement regarding the comic was we were writing issue 3 and we had to make a lot of really big changes and we were having a really hard time with it, and he just felt like he couldn't have inspiration and know what to do with it, and I felt like I could. So one time when he was done with work, he was taking a nap, and I just kind of opened the computer and I said, I'm going to just start writing what I think can happen. We're going to do this and we'll go from there, because usually he's the one to write and then we'll look at it together and then edit it together. And so this time I said, okay, I'm going to be the one to write and then we'll look at it together. And that was hard for him because when he faces a problem, he's the kind of person who really needs to work through that problem himself. So he felt like he was that chance to fix the problem himself was taken away from him. But it wasn't really that big of we didn't really have an argument about it. It was just kind of difficult, but then we got through it.
So you got closer.
Yeah,
in a way.
Yeah, we did. We learned about each other through that process for sure.
So pretty much it was more like, okay, I have to realize this is not a one thing. This is both our thing.
Right, yes. And he has said since that it helped him remember that that's why he has me and he has Jordan, because we're a team, and when one of us is struggling with something, the others are there to come up with ideas or back each other up, and it's awesome.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
That's exactly right.
So how do people find this? Do you have a website?
We do, yeah. StarsideComic.com, STARSIDE. comic.com, and we're also on all the social media at Starside Comic. We have an online store, so we sell our issues digitally and physically on our online store, and we'll actually have a Kickstarter coming up pretty soon for issue 3, so people can get their hands on it that way. Yeah, we're trying to get the word out there more and find some more readers, so we're really proud of it.
Now, the decision to do digital and traditional, what was that like? Some people are pro.
To publish it.
As far as publishing, yeah.
Well, it was having chosen to surround ourselves in a community of indie comic creators. Like, we have found people online who are doing the exact same thing that we are, just creating this thing and publishing it completely by themselves. We asked a lot of questions about how they do it, and we knew we wanted to get our books in stores, and we knew from personal experience and from talking to people that people like to have physical books in their hands, and so we knew we wanted to be able to print the books. But there's also, a whole world that's kind of destroying our local comic shops of digital comics out there that it's easier for people all over the world to access, or just people of all different abilities to spend money or have things. It can be better and easier to have digital comics, so we wanted to do both. But luckily, with our comic is already a digital file, so it's not hard for us to just compress it into a PDF that somebody can download. So it was a no-brainer to make it accessible both ways.
Economically, without getting too much in your business.
Yeah, I mean, it costs us nothing.
What does better? The digital or the
physical, actually, I
really?
think. Yes. I mean, it depends, because the Kickstarter, I think there are a lot more people who want to spend just a couple of bucks to get a PDF to try out this new comic and see if they like it. Because that's what I do as well when I'm on Kickstarter. I just want to, support them, and I know that it costs $0 to produce a digital comic. Well, I mean, once you have the thing made, and it's there, you don't have to print, you don't have to ship it. So it really supports the artist when it's independent, to purchase it digitally. But also, I lost my train of thought there. But
that is better economically.
Yeah. So it depends. Like, we do really well at comic shops and at the conventions, and people do seem to really like having physical books, and sometimes people will do both, so they have the option to read it online, but they get to have it in their collection. So I feel like overall
they get to go to a con and get you to sign it.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't sign a digital.
Yeah, and in 30 years, when Starside is the new HBO series, and those are going to be worth a lot. That's the plan.
but really, is that the plan? I was going to ask
that's the dream. That's so many people's dream. That would definitely be.
And I asked that because there's so many people that create comic books just for that. They're not really into, like they pretend at the cons that they are, but they really don't want to get that Netflix or HBO Showtime deal.
The goal is to create the story and to create something we're really proud of and that people can enjoy and bring people together. One major theme in Starside is people coming together for a common cause, and that's something that we really want to create with this book. So we're trying to figure out ways to build the community and have a dialogue with our readers. That's why we love coming to conventions, is just talking to people about what they're reading and about, their reactions to the book if they've read it already. And we kind of want to build that on our site as well through our blog and comments. Like, we just want to talk to people and have a community of people who enjoy the same thing. But of course, we all want to be doing this for a living. We want to be able to quit our day jobs and make money off of just enough to live our lives and not have to work jobs that we don't like.
Is this the filmmaker in you?
Which part? Wanting to make a living off of it, or wanting to make a TV show?
TV show, yeah.
Yes and no, because Dylan was probably the first one to say, I really see this someday being like Game of Thrones level, awesome. We also think about it could be really great as an animated series just because of the insane alien designs and landscapes and everything that's going to be in there. And Jordan's really cool style, I think, would translate really well to an Avatar Last Airbender kind of show.
So with this, would it be fair to say that you don't really care what medium? It's really just about the story.
Yeah,
and whichever one clicks or works, you would go.
Yeah, we'll always finish it as a comic. Even if a TV company is we want to pick this up and we want all of your attention focused on this show now, and we're gonna we would never abandon it in its original medium. But it just would be amazing, and we always think about what actors would play these characters and what songs would be in the trailer and all that. It helps inspire the story as well and the characterization.
So I was about to ask that question. What actors or actresses do you see playing your characters in your comic book?
Well, for the main characters, we would want it to be all unknowns. We would want, because the main character is just this 16-year-old kid, we kind of want a Harry Potter situation, a Game of Thrones situation where you grow up with them and then that person's career can blossom afterward.
So no Stranger Things, guys. They're not looking for y'all. Y'all running the course.
Yeah. They'll be too old, I'm sure, by the time Starside becomes a thing. Stranger Things cast.
Yeah, I think they still got some new people that could basically do some roles.
Oh, yeah.
Besides the older ones. So
Yeah.
Michael?
Well, I disagree. I get brand new people. I'm a huge fan of no names.
Yeah, totally.
Where you're not focusing on how this particular person did this role out of the 50 million roles. No, you just want them
to embody that character. Yeah, totally.
Now the Game of Thrones people are everywhere now. They're offering them so many different projects, and it's kind of weird.
Get used to it. One of my favorite memes I saw recently was a picture of Daniel Radcliffe on set for his newest movie, the one where he has the gun stapled to his hands, and then it was a picture of Elijah Wood. I'm not sure what he was working on, but he was on a scooter, and it said something like, Daniel Radcliffe and Elijah Wood having been the face of two of the most iconic fantasy series in the early 2000s, now just doing really bizarre genre movies is a mood. And it was so crazy to me to look at those pictures and be like, oh yeah, I kind of have a hard time picturing Daniel Radcliffe as Harry Potter now. I had to Google him. I'm a massive Harry Potter fan, and I've seen all the movies 1,000 times and read all the books, of course. And just to look at him and be like, oh yeah, Daniel Radcliffe, he was Harry Potter, not just these other amazing weird movies he's done. It's interesting to see their careers, change like that.
Because I think right now a lot of artists and actors are trying to find a niche from being iconic from those roles.
Yeah.
Like Dan Ragniff, if I'm saying his name
Radcliffe,
wrong.
yeah.
But also the guy that played Suge Knight in Notorious, is it, or Tupac, one of the films. He, everywhere he goes, he knows as Suge Knight, but he want to venture out and be more than just Suge Knight. So how do you feel about actors trying to bridge that
Get
gap?
away from that?
Yeah.
I mean, I wish them all well, of course. Like, that can definitely be difficult depending on your career choices. But, you know, some people have been able to succeed and do that, like Daniel Radcliffe. And I'm trying to think of other people who, like, are just,
Now, for being a comedian, he's going into the new Saw movie as a detective.
That's right. I forgot about that. I just heard about that the other day. I got to see that just to see that. That's going to be amazing.
Him and Samuel Jackson, like, dynamic duel.
Yeah.
Everybody's anticipating this one. So, what else I'm about to say? Michael, do you have any questions?
Why do you actually have questions? Of course I got questions. That's what I do. I ask questions. Funny. So, we have part 3 coming out. When can people pick this up? And will the digital launch the same time as the
actually,
paper
yes,
version?
issue 3 is already out.
It's already out.
Yeah,
Okay.
we typically, Kickstarters do happen before the wide release of a comic. So that's something that we've been talking about, how we did not do that. And because we have such a close relationship with our local comic stores and with our local community of people who have bought the issues at conventions and at the store, you know, we really wanted to get it out to those people first because they have been waiting the longest. And so we bought a short print run of issue 3 to bring to this convention and the one we did previously. So we had a re-release on like January 25th, I think. It's on our website digitally and physically already. And then so the Kickstarter, you know, will be mainly to reach out to those people who knew us from our last Kickstarter, people who are outside of this area, people who, you know, it really helps us to market it better and expand our reach beyond our local community. So, you know, it's tough to balance getting it to everyone when you want to and all of that. We think for issue 4 we're going to do the Kickstarter first because it makes more sense logically to do that first and then do a wide release. So we're going to try to do it that way.
No, we're huge sci-fi fantasy fans. And sometimes we talk about the clap back from fans on different directions. We always J.J. Abrams has control of almost all of our childhood, at least 25%.
Yeah.
And then you have Michael Bay that has control of the other 25% of our childhood. Fans tend to say what they feel, as far as you know, brutally honest, right? Mm-hmm. Is there any pressure between 1 and 2, now doing 3, where fans were like, "Please go in this direction. I need to know about this or that." Any of that?
Not yet. I think because we know the mysteries that we are very slowly revealing. We have had people say, like, you know, without spoiling anything, because there is a twist at the end of the first issue that we don't say in our pitch that really kind of sets the tone for what's going to happen in the future. But people say, like, what about Jack? Like, is he going to be involved in this thing that happens? And we know the answer to that. And, you know, we know that some people will really like that. And we have had people say that, you know, oh, the way you did this, I love it because it's so different. But then there are people who are like, you know, why wouldn't, he's the main character, like, why wouldn't you have this happen to him? But we feel very strongly about his trajectory and what that's going to mean for the story overall and his journey and the themes. and just how that's going to play into the mysteries that are slowly being unraveled. So we've had people come to us with some theories that were way off, and it's not going to change, how we are planning to tell the story. It's really fun to hear and talk about. But yeah, there's definitely that dialogue, but we're not worried about it.
So any other future projects that we can be expecting?
Actually, yeah. I mean, don't get your hopes up too soon because it's way in the early process. But something that we learned a little too late when we were just starting out as indie comic creators is that when you're creating an ongoing series like we are, Starside is not going to be 10 issues. It's going to be many, many issues. We are planning to grow up with Jack and have a very huge arc in mind. As nobodies, it's very unlikely that a comic publisher will want to pick that up because they don't know if it's going to be good. They don't know if it's going to continue. They don't know if it's going to sell. So when you're first starting out in comics, the best thing you can do is create a one-shot or create a limited series that can be told in one volume, or just a limited number of books, and then you can pitch that to publishers, and they will more likely take a risk on that because if it doesn't sell, it's done anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And we did not do that. So we're planning right now to continue publishing Starside independently, keep doing what we're doing because this is our love and our baby. But we have another story that we're really excited to start working on that's super different. It's a limited series. It is a Victorian era kind of mystery thing and a little bit steampunky. And so we're starting the research and pre-production phase for that.
Well, all right. Well, tell everyone your social media.
Okay, we are
and how
at
people
Starside
can
Comic.
find your stuff.
Okay, yeah. So Starside, we are at Starside Comic on all of the platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Not TikTok yet, so not that platform. Not Snapchat. But anyway, at Starside Comic and www.starsidecomic.com. You can find all our stuff and info.
Davion Bussey, known as Davion Bussey on social media.
And you could get Michael at Michael7Michael on IG. Go to GEEKCASTER on IG, geekcaster.com. Thank you so much. We're live from Fanfare NYC. Thank you so much.
And remember, bring the smoke.
And he's talking about special effects, people. Special effects.
Not that type of smoke, people.
Yeah, no.
Motivation.